You've probably heard about the Boulder shooting, in which 10 victims ranging from 20 to 65 years old have died. And right now, people like Joe Biden and the Democrats are saying, we have to ban guns. Now, what you probably haven't heard is how on the left, among the Democrats and the mainstream media, everybody was saying, he must be a white man. Yes, they blamed him for being white. They said that because he survived the gunfight with police, that he was clearly a white man. Turns out, he was not. Here on Twitter with Andy No, breaking. The suspect in the hashtag Boulder, Colorado mass shooting, where 10 were murdered, has been identified as Ahmad al-Issa. He was first described as a white male. His social media, which is now deleted, show he was a religious Muslim who posted frequently about Islamophobia. Now, there's even major figures who made a mistake with this. Mina Harris, for example, says, I deleted a previous tweet about the suspect in the Boulder shooting. I made an assumption based on being taken into custody alive and the fact that the majority of mass shootings in the US are carried out by white men. Well, that's not racist. But we're going to talk about that, folks. I want to talk about the Boulder tragedy, the families involved, because I feel like we need to be talking about the victims more than this political bullshit that seems to be happening. But before we do, please remember to smash that like button, subscribe, hit the bell button so that you can get notifications for more content. So Mina Harris, the cousin, I believe, or the niece of Kamala Harris, originally posted online that, what? The shooter got out alive? Oh, must have been a white male. The sheer racism of such a statement blows my mind. First of all, these leftists and these Democrats don't know what they're talking about because you're far more likely to be killed by police as a white man than you are as a minority. And even in this woman's apology, when she's getting roasted online, she says, well, all the mass shootings are carried out by white men. Can you imagine if she said the same thing about another race? I'm going to show you a picture. This is him being taken away by police. Many people who saw this picture assumed that he was a white male. And if you go to Twitter and you type in white male, you can see everybody's assumptions. So here a user named Lance, It's a New Day, says, white male, suspected shooter, at least 10 dead, AR-15. That's the tweet. David Hoffman says, I'll bet anyone my salary right now that the shooter in Boulder is a right-wing, MAGA, white male. I think you're beginning to see the disgusting behavior of the Democrats and the left. Can you imagine hearing about a tragedy where 10 people lost their lives, and instead of talking about the victims, instead of giving warm words and some love, all you're gonna do is celebrate. Celebrate because you think the shooter's a white male and it fits your agenda. I don't know how anybody could call themselves a Democrat or a modern liberal leftist and not be ashamed, not be utterly ashamed of their own group. Now, as for the political leanings of Ahmad al-Issa, he was not a right-winger, as many tried to say. He's not MAGA. In fact, he was anti-MAGA. Here on the Post-Millennial, revealed, Boulder shooter Ahmad al-Issa expressed anti-Trump sentiment, reportedly had ISIS sympathies. Here on a Twitter post, he says, he inherited a growing economy, and the unemployment rate was low. The economy was on an upward spiral. He won because of racism. He was anti-Trump. He was a progressive left-winger. Isn't it funny how all of a sudden, when the media was saying white male, white male, white male, all of a sudden they removed that from the story? Look here. The Denver Post says, a 21-year-old Arvada man was arrested. Why aren't you including the name and the identity of the man? Could it possibly be that because it turns out that he's not white, you don't want to put it in the story? And that makes you wonder, what kind of agenda does the media have if they only want to talk about race when the suspect is white? So, like any Democrat would, Biden is already talking about banning AR-15s. Here on the Daily Mail, Biden considers executive action to ban assault rifles and says this should not be a partisan issue. Oh, should it be a partisan issue, huh? I just love that logic. Yeah, violating your constitutional rights is not a partisan issue. You should just let us destroy the Constitution. It doesn't matter. That's not a partisan issue. Yeah, no, it is a partisan issue. The Democrats are constantly trying to exploit tragedy, the death of these innocent people, in order to push their anti-gun agenda. God, how do Democrats live with themselves? And I'm sure that if you were to ask a Democrat, why do you want to ban guns? They're going to say, well, we want to save lives. Guns are the problem. Oh, it's such a childish, naive idea. The idea that if you take away guns, you're going to stop tragedy. You're not. You're not going to stop it. If anything, it's going to get worse. People don't need a gun. They don't need a rifle. Okay? There's a lot of ways to cause destruction and mayhem, and it's a lot easier than you think. Guns are not the problem. Our society is. The society! And maybe the problem is people like Joe Biden want to let people immigrate from other countries that may be higher risk in terms of culture, in terms of religion, and ultimately, it makes us all less safe. So Joe Biden has said that he's open to the prospect of using an executive action to ban assault rifles and high-capacity magazines. This would be bad. Bad for a lot of reasons. First of all, Democrats and leftists don't seem to know what a gun is, like what an AR-15 even is. Many people think that AR means assault rifle. It doesn't. AR stands for Armalite Rifle. It has nothing to do with assault rifles. Even Snopes says that the claim that AR stands for assault rifle is false. So according to Joe Biden, he's open to executive action. He says, quote, "We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country. Once again," he said, encouraging lawmakers to act. "This should not be a partisan issue. It is an American issue. It will save lives. American lives, we have to act." You know, many years ago, I said that shootings and tragedies would only increase. And I've been saying this for years because every time that there's a tragedy, people try to blame religion, people try to blame race, people try to blame identity, and they make it a political issue. And then they try to blame a scapegoat. They say, oh, the problem is conservatives. The problems are liberals. Everybody is always blaming something. The reason that we're living in a world where people are going crazy and doing terrible things is because the world we live in is crazy. The society we live in is crazy. The society! It's distorted. It's corrupt. Nothing is right about it. The banks screw us over. The government screws us over. People are saying that there's not two genders. You know, political ideology and brainwashing is being shoved down our throats. You're not allowed to have certain opinions. You're not allowed to have free speech. People are posting this garbage vitriol on Twitter, online, on social media, on Facebook, and it's driving people insane. The world we live in, the society we live in, is so decadent, is so fallen that people are going insane. Unless you fix the problem, which is society, this will only get worse. So the Democrats, they're going to try to ban guns once again. And guess what? It's going to happen again. And again, and again, because the real issue is not being addressed. Our society is broken. Look at the world around you. It's broken. I think we can all agree it's broken. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. Let me know what you think about this story. Did you notice how the media was saying that this guy was white, and then all of a sudden they stopped mentioning his identity when it comes out that he's not white? And yeah. Let me know down below in the comment section. As always, support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. It's really up to you. I think a lot of people are having trouble with Patreon and its payment system. If that's the case, then consider switching over to Subscribestar or simply using Subscribestar if you're new. Regardless of whether when you join, you will get access to Fight Club, a private Discord server, as well as access to any private posts that I post online. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.